In 1939, the Royal Australian Air Force went to war with biplanes designed in the 1920s and no fighter capable of matching a modern enemy. Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor brought the threat to Australia's own shores. What followed was one of aviation history's most dramatic transformations, from 3,500 personnel and 0 modern fighters to 216,900 service members and the fourth largest Allied Air Force on Earth. 22 aircraft, one nation's war.
Fighters. Let's begin with fighters. Supermarine Spitfire, Britain's greatest fighter in Australian markings. 656 delivered to the RAAF from 1942, primarily Marks 5 and 8. Single Rolls-Royce Merlin producing 1,565 horsepower at altitude. Two 20mm Hispano cannons plus 4.303 Browning machine guns. Top speed 408 miles per hour. Defended Darwin from Japanese air raids in 1943, then fought across New Guinea and Borneo through war's end. Curtiss P-40 Kittyhawk, the undisputed workhorse of RAAF fighter operations. 848 aircraft across multiple variants. Single Allison V1710 engine delivering 1,325 horsepower, up to 6.50 caliber Browning machine guns. Top speed 362 miles per hour. Not as fast as the Zero, but rugged, hard-hitting, and dependable. Equipped more RAAF fighter squadrons than any other type across the entire Pacific campaign. Bristol Beaufighter, Australia's deadliest strike fighter. 581 delivered to the RAAF. Twin Bristol Hercules producing 1,770 horsepower each. 4 20mm cannons plus 6.303 machine guns, with rockets and torpedoes carried underwing. Top speed 320 miles per hour. Operated by 11 RAAF squadrons, devastating enemy shipping, airfields, and supply lines throughout New Guinea and the Dutch East Indies. North American/CAC Mustang, America's finest fighter, built on Australian soil. 499 produced by Commonwealth Aircraft Corporation under license. Single Packard-built Merlin producing 1,490 horsepower. 6.50 caliber Browning machine guns. Top speed 437 miles per hour. Entered RAAF service in late 1944. Equipped 4 frontline squadrons for the final Pacific offensives and would have spearheaded any invasion of the Japanese mainland. De Havilland Mosquito, the wooden wonder in Australian service. 285 Mosquitoes operated by the RAAF across photographic reconnaissance and bomber variants. Twin Rolls-Royce Merlin engines producing 1,640 horsepower each. Bomber versions carried 4,000-pound bomb loads reaching 415 miles per hour, faster than most enemy fighters. RAAF Mosquitoes flew deep penetration reconnaissance and precision bombing missions across the Pacific and European theaters. CAC Boomerang, Australia's only homegrown fighter design. 250 built by Commonwealth Aircraft Corporation in just 5 months from drawing board to prototype. Single Pratt & Whitney R-1830 Twin Wasp, producing 1,200 horsepower. 2 20mm cannons plus 4.303 machine guns. Top speed 305 miles per hour. Outclassed by the Zero as an interceptor, but excelled in Army cooperation and target marking over New Guinea's jungles. Hawker Demon, the biplane that stood ready when the war began. 64 Demons on RAAF strength from 1935. Single Rolls-Royce Kestrel IIS, producing 485 horsepower. 3.303 machine guns. Top speed 182 miles per hour. Completely obsolete by 1939 standards, yet active on RAAF inventory at war's outbreak. Retired from frontline duties by 1942, replaced by modern monoplane fighters arriving from Britain and America. Bell P-39 Airacobra, the unconventional American fighter that briefly patrolled Australian skies. 22 delivered to the RAAF in 1942. Single Allison V1710, producing 1,150 horsepower, driving a rear-mounted engine configuration with a nose wheel undercarriage, 137mm cannon plus 2.50 caliber and 4.30 caliber machine guns. Top speed 376 miles per hour. Replaced quickly by Kittyhawks, better suited to Pacific conditions and maintenance. Brewster Buffalo, the fighter that faced Japan's best and lost. 17 Buffaloes in RAAF service from 1941. Single right Cyclone R-1820, producing 1,200 horsepower. 4.50 caliber Browning machine guns. Top speed 313 miles per hour. Defending Malaya when Japan struck in December 1941, Buffalo pilots were immediately outclassed by the Zero's superior speed and maneuverability. Withdrew to Sumatra, then Java, before all remaining examples were destroyed. Hawker Hurricane, a single aircraft representing hundreds of Australians. Officially, one Hurricane carried RAAF serial markings. Single Rolls-Royce Merlin, producing 1,030 horsepower. 8.303 Browning machine guns. Top speed 330 miles per hour. Though only one wore RAAF markings, hundreds of Australian pilots flew Hurricanes over Britain, North Africa, and Malta with RAF squadrons, including the famous number 3 squadron in the Western Desert. Bombers. Moving on to bombers, Avro Anson, the quiet giant of RAAF operations. 1,028 Ansons served, the largest single aircraft type in RAAF history. Twin Armstrong Siddeley Cheetah engines producing 335 horsepower each. One fixed .303 forward gun plus 1.303 in dorsal turret. Maximum speed 188 miles per hour. Primary maritime patrol platform in 1940 before the Hudson arrived, then trained thousands of aircrew through the Empire Air Training Scheme.
Bristol Beaufort, Australia's torpedo bomber built on home soil. 701 produced locally under license at the DAP factory. Twin Pratt & Whitney R-1830 twin Wasp engines producing 1,200 horsepower each. 4 to 5.303 machine guns plus one torpedo or 1,500-pound bomb load. Top speed 269 miles per hour. Operated maritime patrol and anti-shipping strikes from 1941, equipping 11 RAAF squadrons across the Pacific Theater. Ferry Battle, the light bomber that trained an Air Force. 366, operated by the RAAF primarily in training roles. Single Rolls-Royce Merlin 1, producing 1,030 horsepower. One fixed .303 forward gun and one flexible .303 in rear cockpit. Top speed 257 miles per hour. Though obsolete in frontline service by 1940, the battle formed the backbone of RAAF pilot training under the Empire Air Training Scheme throughout the war. Vultee Vengeance, the controversial dive bomber that divided opinion. 342 delivered, 99 Mark I, 122 Mark II, and 121 Mark IV variants. Single right R-2600 Cyclone, producing 1,700 horsepower. 6.303 machine guns in earlier variants, 6.50 caliber in the Mark IV. Top speed 279 miles per hour. Flew combat operations over New Guinea in early 1944 with 5 squadrons, then condemned as unsuitable and replaced by Liberators. Consolidated B-24 Liberator, the Pacific's long-range heavy bomber. 287 B-24s equipped the RAAF from 1944. 4 Pratt & Whitney R-1830 twin Wasp engines producing 1,200 horsepower each. 10.50 caliber Browning machine guns, up to 8,000-pound bomb load. Maximum speed 290 miles per hour. Operated by 12 RAAF squadrons, striking Japanese targets from Borneo to the Philippines and conducting vital long-range maritime patrol missions. Lockheed Hudson, the aircraft that fired the RAAF's first shots. 247 Hudsons operated from 1940. Twin Wright Cyclone R-1820 engines producing 1,100 horsepower each.
7.303 machine guns plus 1,400-pound bomb load. Top speed, 253 miles per hour. Hudsons of No. 1 and 8 squadrons conducted the RAAF's first retaliatory strike against the Japanese on December 8, 1941. Operated 12 RAAF squadrons in maritime patrol and bombing. North American B-25 Mitchell. Medium bombardment across the Pacific. 75 Mitchells equipping RAAF No. 2 and 18 squadrons. Twin Wright R2600 double cyclone engines producing 1,700 horsepower each. Up to 18.50 caliber machine guns, depending on variant. Maximum speed, 284 miles per hour. Bomb load up to 3,000 pounds. Flew low-level skip bombing attacks against Japanese shipping and supported every major RAAF ground campaign across New Guinea and Borneo. Lockheed Ventura. The Hudson's hard-hitting successor. 75 Venturas entered RAAF service from 1943. Twin Pratt & Whitney R2800 double Wasp engines producing 2,000 horsepower each. Two fixed .50 caliber plus twin .50 caliber dorsal turret. Top speed 300 miles per hour. 2,500-pound bomb load. Replaced the Hudson in maritime patrol and medium bombing roles, equipping 3 RAAF squadrons for anti-submarine patrols and strikes against Japanese coastal targets. Douglas A-20 Boston, the low-level destroyer. 69 Bostons served with RAAF No. 22 Squadron. Twin Wright R2600 double cyclone engines producing 1,600 horsepower each. 4 fixed .50 caliber forward guns plus 2.50 caliber in dorsal position. Top speed 339 miles per hour. Bomb load 2,000 pounds. Specialized in devastating low-altitude skip bombing against Japanese shipping and airfields across New Guinea, becoming one of the most effective ground attack platforms in the Pacific. Westland Wapiti, the biplane that began Australia's combat story. 43 Wapitis served the RAAF from 1929. Single Bristol Jupiter radial, producing 480 to 550 horsepower depending on variant. 1 fixed .303 forward gun plus 1 Lewis gun in rear cockpit. Top speed 140 miles per hour. 580-pound bomb load. Still on active RAAF inventory at war's outbreak. The oldest aircraft in frontline service, replaced only as modern types finally arrived. Curtiss A-25 Shrike, Helldiver, the dive bomber Australia ordered but never used. 150 Shrikes contracted by the RAAF, only 10 aircraft physically delivered in November 1943, with serials A69-1 through A69-10. Single Wright R2600 Cyclone, producing 1,700 horsepower. 4.50 caliber wing guns. Maximum speed 295 miles per hour. After evaluation, found handling characteristics unsatisfactory. 9 were transferred to the US AAF. Only A69-4 flew under RAAF markings, used solely for performance testing. Avro Lancaster. 2 aircraft, thousands of Australians. The RAAF officially owned just 2 Lancaster heavy bombers. 4 Rolls-Royce Merlin engines producing 1,460 horsepower each. 10.303 Browning machine guns. Bomb load from 14,000 to 22,000 pounds. Maximum speed 282 miles per hour. While only 2 carried RAAF serials, over 3,500 Australians died flying Lancasters in RAF Bomber Command, the single greatest sacrifice of any RAAF theater. From the Westland Wapiti biplane that defended an almost defenseless continent in 1939 to the Mustangs and Liberators ready to strike the Japanese mainland in 1945, these 22 aircraft chart one of history's most dramatic Air Force transformations. A nation that began the war with no modern combat aircraft built, borrowed, and bought its way to the 4th largest Allied Air Force on Earth. The CAC Boomerang, designed in weeks, built from Wirraway parts, proved that Australian engineers could deliver when no one else would.
The Kittyhawk held the line when nothing better was available. The Beaufort and Beaufighter swept Japanese shipping from Pacific sea lanes, and the Lancasters over Germany, officially just 2 aircraft on RAF books, represent 3,500 Australians who never came home. 22 aircraft, a transformation that decided the war in the Pacific.